Good morning to one and all. Before we begin with today's program, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the recent tragic events in Pahalgam. I request everyone to please rise as we observe a minute of silence in remembrance and solidarity with the victims and their families. Thank you. You may all be seated. Welcome to the fourth day of the 7-day FDP program on Research, Innovation and Industry Connect, Empowering Excellence in Education, organized by the IQAC Jyoti Nivas College Autonomous. We are truly delighted to have with us Ms. Anuradha Adiga, Senior Principal Consultant Learning, Infosys Limited, Sister Nalini Cruz, Manager and Superior JNC Community, Dr. Sister Mary Louisa S., our Principal and Chairperson, Sister Sajita Jose, our Administrator, Dr. Carol Stanley Sempler, the IQAC Coordinator, Ms. Neeta, the Controller of Examinations, Chief Coordinators, Deans, HODs, all the faculty members, both offline and online. In today's dynamic landscape, integrating research and innovation with industry practices is essential. This FTP fosters interdisciplinary thinking, creativity, and collaboration through expert-led sessions and hands-on activities, bridging academic insights with real-world applications to drive continuous learning and excellence in education. On day 3 of the program, we had the privilege of hearing from Mr. Rajesh Pandit, visiting faculty IIM Udaipur, who delivered an insightful session on empowering innovation and excellence in education. He addressed the faculty on communication and pedagogical strategies. He emphasized on transformative power of storytelling and effective communication in empowering innovation and excellence in education. By harnessing the art of narrative, educators can create engaging, interactive, and memorable learning experiences that inspire students to reach their full potential. Mr. Rajesh Pandit highlighted the key techniques of storytelling, including the use of narratives, vivid imagery, student participation, and emotional connections. The session had a brainstorming session on innovative ways to integrate storytelling and effective communication into education. He explored ideas on designing immersive learning experiences, developing storytelling frameworks for diverse subjects, and encouraging student-led storytelling initiatives. Additionally, he also emphasized on the importance of effective communicating strategies such as active listening, clear language, non-verbal communication, and feedback. By integrating these techniques into teaching practices, educators can foster a culture of innovation, creativity, and excellence in education, ultimately preparing students to succeed in an increasingly complex and rapidly changing world. It ended with an engaging question answer session where the audience engaged actively. Building on the momentum of the previous session, I, Dr. Namrata Mohan, am delighted to welcome all of you to the day 4 of this enriching faculty development program as we continue our journey of learning, collaboration, and academic excellence. We are honored to have with us today Ms. Anuradha Adiga, Senior Principal Consultant Learning, Infosys Limited. With a MTech from NITK Surakkal, Ms. Anuradha has 23 plus years of industry and teaching experience. She is a Microsoft certified trainer and Azure solutions architect who has delivered multiple trainings on Microsoft technologies and generative AI for both internal and external clients. She currently manages the technical training competency for Infosys employees at BLRDC as the ETA learning partner while playing the anchor's role in the data science of AI track at ETA and actively enable competency on generative AI via various programs across Infosys. We extend a warm welcome to you, ma'am. Kindly accept this small token of our appreciation as a gesture of gratitude. I now invite Ms. Anuradha Adiga to take over the session. She will be addressing the topic Empowering Educators with AI, Applications in Teaching, Research and Publication, offering valuable insights into the evolving role of artificial intelligence in academia. Over to you, ma'am.
Audio, audio. Audio picking up. Slowly, what happened? Slowly, not. Be patient,
Yeah, so it's my favorite. First of all, it doesn't play this.
She's not able to get, we are not able to get the audio feed. It's not- Audio, check audio.
Stop. Now it's going to act as a right over here. Now, of course, as I read this, I could write my own notes as well by just double clicking it. And entering text. And there's other things you can do.
Okay, so good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to understanding how artificial intelligence can make a difference in all of our lives, especially when we come to this field, education, publishing, and research. But I like to call it as ERP because it has a similar, jargon out there in the market called enterprise resource planning. We end up doing both education as well as research most of the time. And finally, we decide at some point when we have experience enough to share our knowledge to others, we end up publishing our work, right? So in all these cases, all these sectors, you'll find that it is very useful if we are able to use artificial intelligence. And before I come to the tools and how applications can be made that are already useful and are available in the market, and we can use it to make our life easier as a teacher, as a student, because no teacher can ever say that I'm not a student. Definitely, teaching is not possible without forever learning. And as I tell my family members, every time I have to take a session, I consider it as an exam. So I think all of us teachers here, faculty, are definitely the ones who are forever preparing. And so therefore always needed some help in research activity, if not anything bigger, but at least for the session, the topic that you're going to teach, you definitely need some help. And all of us, if we are not using artificial intelligence today, we would be like the old time gardener who would happily cut the grass with a sickle, but will soon be out of a job because there will be a new gardener who says they are able to use the lawnmower and they are well versed with multiple machines. They can finish your garden moving work faster than the traditional gardener. So I would say AI is exactly that. It's a tool that cannot replace us, but definitely will replace those who do not know how to use it. So want to just start off here with asking you what you think is the simplest definition of artificial intelligence. And in case you have never seen or heard about it, this is the time to look into this course. This is from Infosys Springboard. This course actually has a lot of small videos that explain the lot of topics quickly. But the best part is that there is a presentation deck which is part of it. So those who don't want to go through videos can definitely see the presentation deck. Every course in Springboard, you may already know, is marking you as completed learning only when you complete the end of the course self-assessment. So let us not jump there. I will try to get to this part, okay, which is just asking what is artificial intelligence? Anyone wants to define it in the most simple way? Offline, online audience, anyone? One question. Most smallest definition. It's like a Pressy writing exercise also, not just descriptive essay. Smallest definition of artificial intelligence. Okay, we may need a mic or somebody can loudly say it. Couple of hands are there in the back. So here I would also request people, those who are sitting in the back, maybe I am the one with the spectacles, but even those with spectacles may find, without spectacles, may find it difficult to see the multiple tools that I'll be showcasing in this session later. So request you to come forward, make the use of the empty seats that are there, because it's going to be very difficult to make notes and to understand what is not specific tools that I'm mentioning. Yeah.
All right. So I think AI is the attempt to get a machine to think and feel like a human.
Okay. So is this somebody speaking here from the? Okay. Good to introduce yourself so that rest of the audience also knows you, not just me. Yeah.
Yeah, Madhu here, Department of Psychology.
Okay.
So my understanding of artificial intelligence is the attempt to get a machine to think and hopefully feel like a human being.
Okay. So since you're from the psychology background, you want a machine to feel, but that bit is not yet achieved. That bit is yet to be done. So yes, it's all about pure, you can say IQ, which we measure in humans, right? So I can say human intelligence, which is brought in a machine. That's the simplest example, simplest definition. So if I, for example, say that I've got a driver bringing me to the campus, would you call him or her? In this case, it was a guy. So would I call him intelligent? Would the task of driving require intelligence? Yes. So what are the organs of the human body that helped him to complete the driving task? Eyes, definitely. You have to, that person has to see how many cars are ahead, etc. Then ears, okay, to some extent, honking from the other side should be heard. Yeah. Brain is very important because that's what is probably doing the calculation, prediction, and decision taking, whether to press the brakes or go fast, etc. And finally, hands and legs, because all of it is to coordinate, to be coordinated by the brain, and accordingly the motion of the car has to be dictated, right? So what I'm trying to bring into highlighted focus here is that AI, when we say is human intelligence in a machine, that means if a person is driving a car and tomorrow we don't want the driver, we don't want human intelligence doing the job, we have to get the car to have all those abilities that the driver had. So the eyes to see, that's called computer vision, which is a branch of AI. Similarly, if you're saying ears are required, I don't agree. Maybe if you're looking at a James Bond kind of car, which has to listen to instructions from the end user, the customers who are sitting in the car. Yeah, that time ears are important. But let's say that's also required. There is a branch of AI called as natural language processing. It can understand language, whether you speak or whether you type and give that text, right? English language. So we have yet to reach the stage where all languages can be understood by machines. It's still primarily English that is understood. So you have computer vision, you have NLP. Anything else? You spoke about hands and legs. What do you think can be the branch of AI that can simulate this work from hands and legs? It starts with R. Many of us are familiar. Robotics. Yes, robots. So we need that kind of a robot to be having its own hands and legs, which can press the required, steering wheel or brakes or accelerator, etc. And most important, any human driver cannot go become a driver, intelligent driver, without having this, right? And that's exactly what you need in AI. That's a very important component that helps the machine think of it on its own. Is if it sees a cow or a dog crossing the road, it has to find out how much far is it, and then do the quick calculation that if it's 50 yards ahead at this speed I go, how fast I'll hit it, or should I reduce the speed so that I don't hit it? The cow will, happily cross the road, or should I honk so that it moves away faster, right? So these are the multiple, decisions that can be possible, but it is possible only when the brain is calculating and telling what to do, right? For a human driver. Same thing applies to the car and any such machine. So that's basically the component called as machine learning. It becomes a most critical part of AI. I am not about to play the video, but I'm sure you can go look into it. If you've not seen this course, you've not seen this thing. So when you're talking about AI, there are basically few components that I would like to again bring it up here. Let's see. This is big enough, and let's say This is what I was talking about. I'm going to use all shortcuts. You have to tell me what's that standing for. Yeah? Yeah? Right? So I've not put all because some of the names that I mentioned here, I'm putting it. So AI is a combination of all these components, these branches, and you could be expert in one field only or one or two fields only. Most likely, which field can never be skipped by any AI engineer? What is the most fundamental component or branch of AI that every AI engineer, whether they are about to make a self-driving car or they are about to make a chatbot like Alexa, Google Assistant, what else we have in our smartphones? If you have Apple iPhone, you have Siri, right? So all these chatbots also, any application of AI cannot do without one important branch out of all of these. Yes, so machine learning becomes the thinking component. It has to predict what to do next and help the machine decide what to do next. So this is the critical part. So whenever you look at anybody who wants to say that I'm going to, it could be your extended family member, some child saying I want to develop a self-driving car, then it is about learning about machine learning plus looking at computer vision becomes very, very important for a self-driving car. But do you think computer vision is needed for a chatbot? Do you think a chatbot needs to see? It needs to hear. So for a chatbot, NLP is required, but again, not without the brain. That means machine learning. So it's a machine learning plus something together helping you to make multiple applications, right? So with that, I move ahead to what else has improved today. AI from the days of 1940s, okay? People were thinking, especially famously, it was Alan Turing, mainly Alan Turing who said that, yeah, can a machine do this for me, right? And that's where we had the famous Turing test, etc., coming out from there. But from those days, things have improved to 1980s, 1990s, where people could get a machine to look at images of dogs and cats and tell whether this machine can tell whether this is a cat or whether this is a dog. Or you must have heard about IBM's Deep Blue machine, which was playing chess. It could defeat Gary Kasparov at multiple rounds of chess. So human intelligence looked like very weak at that time. It is actually a combination of a lot of mathematical, subjects there, like probability, statistics, etc., internally that the machine is doing, plus the idea of being able to understand logic and play according to the rules of the game. So whether it is AlphaGo as the machine that played Go, or whether it is Deep Blue that played chess, it was a quick example of how AI was basically discriminative at those days, which means it could discriminate between right and wrong, yes or no, or you train it a lot and then it is able to answer things for you, right? So how do you think machine learning works? And I'm bringing a very, very simple, dummified example of understanding what exactly is machine learning. Because basically AI is whatever type of AI you are doing application, it is at the base machine learning. It can be a little more improved with what is called as neural networks today, because that's called as deep learning. It's a subset of machine learning. But finally, it is still about how does a machine learn from what we ask it to learn? That's the big question that we're answering. So let's see if you have taken aptitude tests, and I'm sure a lot of us have tried this, different online exams, etc., where you would have a fill in the blanks kind of thing. I'm giving an online test right now. I don't want the final answer, but have you figured out what is the pattern that can give you the final answer to fill in the blanks, right? Most of us have figured it out. Now, how have you done it? That's the thinking that you have to look at. So if you look at input as 2 and a given output as 5, your brain is quickly trying to compute what is the formula, what is the transformation formula that can move make an input to output, right? And you're not able to figure out for sure. With just one pair of input output, it's not good enough. So you go ahead to the next pair, 5 and 8. But from the previous pair, what you can say is that your formula does not have multiplication symbol, right? Because 5 is not a multiple of 2, so it cannot have a multiplication symbol at all. When it comes to the second record or second pair of input and output, by now everyone should be nodding your heads, right? You know the formula. Suppose y is the output I am asking to predict and x is your input. What is the formula? Right? X plus 3. So this is the stage where with lot of data given to you, data in the sense input and output given to you, you have been able to train your brain to come up with the inferencing part that is also called as the model, right? It has inferenced the formula. I'm making a very simple formula is actually called as model. In real life, models will not be just x plus 3 kind of formula. It may be even bigger, more complex because inputs may be x1, x2, x3, and a lot of different variations can happen. So it may be a very complex model that is deduced by the machine. But at the end of the training phase, you have used the majority of the data, 2 records to be precise, 2 pairs, 2, 5 and 5, 8. What about the next? How do you go ahead and use this formula and then say this is your answer? Or if you have time in the aptitude exam, would you want to confirm that the formula is correct or not? And in order to confirm, you need some test data, and that is still there. You can see the last record is still there, 1 input and 1 output, that is 8 and 11. So you use this, you put that 8 is the input, put it in this formula and see whether the formula predicts something. So this is called as the predicted output, right? So if the predicted output is very near the actual output, this is the stage where you can measure the difference, the deviation, and say that your testing phase is over. You've got a predicted output. You are now evaluating how good is your model or formula. So these are the 3 phases of machine learning also. You have to supply a lot of data points, inputs and outputs of the past, so that the machine tries to figure out what formula, what complex model has to be inferred from this, and then move on to test, validate whether the formula is good. And once you've got the predicted output, see what is the deviation between the actual and the predicted output, right? So maybe I will say actual minus predicted, or it could be predicted minus actual, right? And I will, in this case, of course, the actual output is here in the test data set 11. I find it very near, exactly same. So this is where I can say 100% accuracy achieved, right? So this is as simple as a definition I can give for how machines work, how machines learn on their own. So basically, it all depends on how many data points of the past you can give. So if you have heard of the different, face recognition software that we all have come across, some of them may be in our Apple phone, right? Because you've got Apple phone releasing that face recognition unlock feature. So you don't have to use your fingerprint at all. Just bring it in front of your face and it gets unlocked. But how is it that it knows you as the owner? And what if you have grown a beard, or you suddenly put sunglasses, or you put a hat? Does the face, get changed? I'm sure the face gets changed, but whether the AI, the machine learning part recognizes you still or not? The answer is it is able to do it even more better now compared to when it was first released. You may have heard of stories where those days when Apple initially came up with the feature, there were a lot of memes and jokes that owner grew a beard and face refused to unlock, right? Tomorrow morning. So new phone. So this was because it was not trained enough on your landmark features of the face. And those were the problems of those days. Today you will find in 2010 onwards, you have what is called as deep learning, also called as neural networks or artificial neural networks that are very good at analyzing a lot of the data. You need even more data points to feed in to get it trained. But once it's trained, it is very good in recognizing, and the accuracy has vastly improved. Compared to machine learning models that were giving you 70% accuracy at the most, you have got deep learning models giving you near to 100, 95+% accuracy. So that's very good for all machines and all computers. All companies are happy that they are able to get deep learning models do a lot of things. First of all, they will try to analyze which customer likes bread and jam when they go to buy butter. How many of you have seen that, right? If you go to any online site and you go for say bread, it will show you frequently bought together combination. It will show you that those who bought bread have also bought jam, butter, etc. So this kind of recommendations are coming because of the neural network in the background, looking at cross-referencing your purchases with other customers' purchases, right? So a lot of application areas for a lot of companies, even for, I mean, when I said e-commerce, it could be even your Spotify, Netflix, right? All of these companies are doing the same thing. They're trying to keep you hooked on to the music or the movies, and that is done through neural networks. Okay, so now how do we use it in our field? So let's get to that. So here we go. So the first part of the story in the AI tools is that you have applications in education, right? So I spoke about the first link here. I mentioned it as Introduction to Artificial Intelligence. Those who have not seen this site before, let me tell you, this is free for all. Just to use the Google ID, login and proceed. Okay. There are other useful links for people who want to learn English. There are other useful courses absolutely free from Coursera, all of which has been brought into the same platform. So Infosys Springboard gives you some of these which I mentioned. There are much more. I've just taken what I felt is very good, but there are much more options there. So what we are covering today is specifically for education, which is and research and publishing. So when I say education, what is that we are looking for? I said, as a teacher, I need to learn something, right? Every few months or maybe every few years, we have to upgrade. There may be a new topic that is brought into your syllabus to be framed, right? Creating an outline to understand, say you have to teach something called as quantum computing. And this is something absolutely new. In India, we don't have any company doing anything on quantum computing. In US, we have Microsoft and other big companies with deep pockets who are investing and doing some research on that. If I have to teach this topic as say elective or any subject in my company or in my college, I would like help. And this is where AI tools, a lot of them can help us. So let's start with few tools that I'm bringing out here. But towards the end, I would like to throw the floor open to all of you because some of you may have already explored very, very useful other tools that may be relevant to your field, right? Maybe chemistry related or whatever other tools, which you have seen in other spaces, other subjects. Yeah, the first option, which everyone should be having if you're not yet having, is the mobile app on your phone, or use it on your web as a website, right? On your laptop, PC, etc. So ChatGPT from the year November 22 when it was released, it got 1 million users in 5 days. No other app, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of these took a lot of time for people to know and hear about and use and appreciate. But within 5 days, 1 million people have gone in, tried it out, and created a login there and continue to use. And that's what the makers of ChatGPT application, OpenAI folks, are telling. It's very difficult for them to manage the load, right? For 4.5 million users per day. That's too much. But anyway, how do we use it? And for what do we use it? So I'm going to use something that is available in Infosys. It's called as Copilot. It's a very similar thing to ChatGPT. And since I don't have access to ChatGPT, I'm going to open this. But there's other option. Let me see if yeah, this is open. Okay, I have another machine open for that reason. So I can open that and show you. Okay. Now, why are we opening this? Because I want one of you to tell me what's the latest topic that you are asked to prepare on. Maybe you are asked to, teach in the next semester. When June you start. I assume you start around June. I'm not sure. So any topic that you want, I want the basic syllabus. So I'm going to start prompting. This idea of prompting is very important and common. That's the way you can use a machine to understand what you want in as few attempts as possible. Because every time you put a question across, you are actually sending multiple machines into motion. So you're making multiple machines that are part of the neural network, which is forming the model, GPT-4 model. They are all working for your answer. And every time they are all going to work, number one, a lot of energy is consumed. Number two, more likely, the company that is hosting that model, it could be GPT-4, which is behind the scenes behind ChatGPT, hosted by OpenAI company on some Microsoft given data centers, etc., charging you for paying, right, for the cost. So unnecessarily, we don't want to, get a lot of bill. Second option, right now, by the way, I am not paying a bill because I've signed in as a temporary user. What is this temporary user? It's only up to certain chats allowed. It doesn't allow you further. So maybe up to a week of chatting I can do, after which it will say you have to go for a subscription, which means I start using credit card and paying for the cost. Okay. So it becomes very important that we learn this art of prompt engineering, because that's another thing that you will find everywhere. It may not be ChatGPT. Tomorrow you like Gemini, which is gemini.google.com, or in your phone, all of us have WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is made by a company which renamed itself called Meta, right? Facebook, and that is a small icon for chatting with Meta. That's another kind of similar model chat interface, right? So everywhere you have to be able to mention your requirement in as detailed way as possible. That's called as prompting, with all the guidelines in place, with examples if you wish, so that it understands and then gives you the answer. So tell me what topic you would like. Outline for which topic would you like? Your subject. Quantum mechanics, okay. Is this best way of writing, or do you think something more I can mention? Create an outline for quantum mechanics. Anything else? Do you want to have big duration, right, for each topic? And maybe some exercises, lab exercises recommended where necessary. I assume if I don't say that, it may not come. So I'm going to mention all this beforehand. Anything else you think is important? That duration, right? Yeah. So that's it. So this is something that may keep changing, right? Just the subject may keep changing. So what we do in prompting, and when we want multiple such prompts to be run by multiple people in an organization, you can have a filler area. So maybe you can put this as double quotes and send this prompt in your library. Keep it in a repository of prompts so that all teachers, everyone can use the same kind of prompt, whichever you have found it very effective, by replacing that filler area with their respective subjects. Okay. So you will find these kind of examples available online. They are called as prompt libraries, right? Okay, so quantum mechanics is what you are told. I will go ahead right away and say, give me. Okay, so they have improved the chat GPT. They are allowing you to even have images, etc. And here you go, semester long complete course they have given you. And the topics are you happy? So this is the first simple thing, but this is just the starting point, right? You're about to prepare, about to take a class, or maybe look at textbooks that are having this kind of syllabus, maximum of this, right? So it does tell you the duration, and I'm looking at lab exercises, which I had asked for, so it just gives you something. And I want more details. So I can say that for the above topics, right? For the above outline, uh, explain each topic, each point, right? Explain let's say I take one of them, explain module 4. So you can continue to build on it because the application, this chatting interface has been created with memory. So it remembers what was the last question and answer that happened. And so I can continue chatting on that further. So here we go, explain module 4 from the above outline. And here you go, module 4 in detail, right? So learning objectives, core topics. And I hope I will not understand this. Hopefully someone who's doing quantum mechanics. And then this part, because last time when lab exercises were there, it never told you how will you actually create, what kind of lab you create. But here it has got little more. And you can take each of this and say, give me the exact detail lab for this. So that's like no need of any other textbook. Just having a generative AI model today, like GPT, which is there in front of you, as a application called ChatGPT, is good enough. But there are others. You may like to use Google's gemini.google.com. You may also use what I have heard from other professors here is Claude. Have you heard of Claude? Anthropic is the company name, and this is the model name. They have multiple variants, bigger models, smaller models, etc. You can just sign in with your Google credentials and continue. Hope it doesn't ask for. This delay will be there. This is where authentication is happening, allowing Anthropic access to my data of Google, including my user ID. Yeah. I think I opened it before, so it's saying signed back, etc. So once you are able to log into the second model that I'm showing, which is Claude, why am I showing this is very important. Because again, for education as well as for research, this becomes very, very useful model. So what I have tried out, something that I know, and asked explain fundamentals of, I have a topic to teach next week in my company, and I'm talking about reinforcement learning. Some of you may be knowing that this is another form of machine learning, and it's a type of machine learning where you reinforce the good behavior and the bad behavior. It's almost like teaching a dog with treats if it has done good work for you, or scolding the dog. Go, stand in the corner. I'm not talking to you. You made a mess of this room. That itself, the tone in which you talk to the dog will feel sad, your pet, and it will go, it will learn that it should not do that activity again. So here, I want to learn this type of teaching or learning, is especially to train a machine. So here I go. I find that whatever I have material online doesn't give me analogies. So I'm going to say, give suitable analogies and diagrams. So I said there are multiple variants of Claude. These are the variants. You can even subscribe and pay for a bigger and better variety, etc. I'm talking about all free variants that I'm using right now. So I go ahead and ask this question. You could be asking this again on ChatGPT also, nothing wrong with that. But I want to show you the power of Claude because this is a very good code generation model. So on the right side, you will see while it is giving me the basics of what a framework means of reinforcement learning, it actually is trying to create an image for me using code on my browser to show what reinforcement learning is all about. So this is totally different from Google search. A lot of us, some of us at least may get confused. Why is the requirement of going here? Why not go do Google search, right? What's the difference? Google search does not generate new content for you. It is about looking at online articles from a lot of places and then giving you the search results. Go here for this, go there for this, and you have to do checking each link and see if it's right or wrong or good enough for you. This is much better that it actually generates the answer for you. All right. Now comes the biggest disclaimer. When I say AI is generating content, and this is actually a type of AI which has started from 2017 or 18 onwards. So let me show you that we were talking about discriminative AI. Do you remember? Where did I write that? Yeah. Today, after 2017, we have AI that is not just able to say yes or no and predict some numbers. It is able to create new things for you. That is generative AI. Okay. So if a question comes from a student that, ma'am or sir, I have to predict some number, prediction of something I have to do. Maybe whether it will rain tomorrow in Bangalore or not, or whether Infosys share price will cross this amount, right? Or whether the passing marks of a student will be this much. All these kind of predictions are solved by normal previous AI. There is no need of generating anything, right? Even if you want to make a self-driving car, there is no generation required. It is just understand the environment, see what is happening around, and take decisions, press the brakes, accelerator, etc. Make your self-driving car move in the right way. So for doing the self-driving car or for doing anything which has to do with decision making, that is yes or no, or trying to predict some numbers, you can do with discriminative AI. No need to come to generative AI at all. But when does this become handy? When you need to generate content. And when you're talking about chatbot, this application, now what we were talking to is a chatbot. It is generating content, right? Or it could be a chatbot that looks at your FAQ of your university or college and gives answers. So maybe newcomers to the college or admissions, looking for admissions, you want to solve their answers or their queries, right? So you give them answers from a document called frequently asked questions, or you create a chatbot to which the user can end up putting a question and the chatbot can look up your FAQ document and give answers. So this kind of generating of content or looking up some documents and then giving content from there is something that are naturally easily done with large language models, which are generative AI. So this is another thing that many people get confused. What is Gen AI and what is LLM? Suddenly I see large language model mentioned. Suddenly I see Gen AI mentioned. Gen AI is generally a term for any kind of generation. It need not be language generation, text generation. It can be image generation. It can be video generation, audio generation, anything, right? So for that, you may not use large language models specifically, but if it is about text, code, etc., you will use large language models. If it is image generation, you may use other kinds of models like diffusion models, etc. Right? So all of this together is part of what we umbrella term called generative AI. Okay. So let us come back. Now, what is the problem with Gen AI and why did I come to this point is, you are doing something like explain a particular concept, right? With analogies and diagrams. You cannot believe it fully. That's the thing that we have to be careful about. It is so much interested to generate content that the Gen AI model will generate any foolish, random answer. It will never say, I don't know. If it doesn't know, it will still create something and give you. Okay? So you have to write the prompt sometimes that says, if you don't know the answer to this, tell I don't know. Okay? Otherwise, it will give you some, what is called as hallucinated answer. And what is this hallucination? That's the biggest drawback of Gen AI. It is about confidently answering the wrong answer. Okay, very confidently giving you the wrong answer. That's an hallucination. I'll give you one very, very surprising example. I was shocked, in fact, when I saw this. It was the year 2023. June 30. The very next day was supposed to be board meeting of Infosys. So just before the meeting session of mine on June 30 afternoon, I was trying out this query. Who will be the CEO, next CEO of Infosys? I just put that question thinking that in front of my people, I will show that answer. It told me Nidanun Roy, somebody like that. I'm not sure about the name perfectly, but he was the CFO at that time. And I'm surprised at saying this person will be the next CEO. And very confidently, it told me a lot of data points about his career. He has been the CFO, he has been this, that. And then I thought, have I missed a meeting or what? It is supposed to be next day, that board meeting, to decide the next CEO. And how is it that this person is, I mean, the chatbot is telling me so confidently that the chatbot was ChatGPT only. Then I went online to Google and said, give me search for next CEO of Infosys. Everywhere it told me the latest current affairs. The next CEO is not yet decided. It is original CEO only right now at Salil Parikh on June 30. I'm doing all this on June 30. And then I realized that what I saw was a perfect example of hallucination. When you ask something, it will, without without even saying, I don't know, it will say, this is the answer, right? So that's something that you have to be careful about. So even if you saw something very, very detailed, right, which we saw it here, even for this, I need to be the SME, the expert of that subject, to make sure that what is explained here is actually true, actually present, right, as a concept. Otherwise, it could still go ahead and write something of its own. So if I go back to, where did I go? ChatGPT. Yeah. So this also, whether really there is something called Schrodinger equation, whether we can do this numerical solution in Python or MATLAB and show things, right? I have to be the expert to be sure and then try it out. And don't just copy and paste and give it to people and then they find out that what you're given is not right. That becomes a big question, a loss of trust with you as a teacher, as a student. Better that we take the accountability, we make sure everything is correct, and then we pass it further. Okay. Right. So these are some of the tools I mentioned, but there are many more. So let me see if some things are open already. Yeah, I think this is the other one. Again, very good tool. So I'm sure as a researcher also you will like this, because a lot of times we have a lot of PDF documents. How many of you are doing research? And those PDFs you have downloaded from your archive, right? .org. And they are huge. They may be in 300 pages PDF. Or even if it's 10 pages, it still takes time because the shorter PDFs are even more dangerous. They have cryptically written a lot of things. So if you read one line, it has 30 lines explanation worth hidden. But they won't write because they're trying to make it short. So when you want such PDFs to be summarized, this is a very useful site. It's called chatpdf.com. And you will find that, again, you can use your Google credentials, sign in for a free account, and you will be able to get a PDF here and then ask any question from that PDF to be answered. Okay, so I had taken one of my PDFs that I had generated for this particular session itself. And I just said, which tool is useful for making notes? It actually goes through the entire PDF. Imagine this is not my PDF. Very ideally, it should be some other PDF that I want to analyze, summarize, or quickly get the answer from without myself manually reading. So you've got this AI ability here. Can you identify which ability or branch of AI is being used here? Because there's a lot of text here in the PDF, and it is processing all of that English language and telling you something. ML is definitely there. Other than that, NLP, yes, because it has to understand the language. So even if I'm not speaking, I have given the notes in the text form. So it has to look at the notes and give you. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it does go through this and give you a correct answer, because I have not mentioned the next tool, which is handy for making notes in my PDF at this point of time. And I was thinking that it will generate a hallucinated answer. It will give me some wrong answer. I was trying to test that. But I see here that it has correctly given the answer that these are the only two things that are mentioned very near to notes. But if you want something else, then they have mentioned what else you could be taking, like Microsoft OneNote or Notion.ai, or I'm coming to that very handy tool for both students and teachers is Notebook LM. Maybe outside one. This is the one. Let me sign into this. So notebooklm.google is the name. I could go ahead and say .google.com. So I've signed in already in multiple tabs. It's not asking me to sign again. So you can see I've created a new notebook here. And this is like a virtual notebook in your phone. You could open it. I think it comes as an app also. So you can download in your phone. And it's like almost like OneNote, but even more powerful. Let me show you how. What did I do? I took this notebook, opened fresh new notebook, and on the left side, I added sources. So those who can't see, please come in front because this is the tool that as a student or a teacher, if I was there in your place in 10 years back, I would have loved to have this because all my notes would be in one place. On top of that, this in multiple YouTube videos, when in the last 2 weeks when I was researching for this session, I saw multiple people saying that they use this specially on the day before the exam to finish their review. So flashcards, you've heard of that concept, right? Take my notes and create flashcards for me. Or take these notes and give me 20 different questions, MCQs, or create questions. Especially one lady, I think she was a Hong Kong lady, was telling that they didn't get past question papers on that topic called immunization. And so she found it very useful to use this notebook LM where she added all her notes. The notes was in different soft copies, Word file, PDF file. Even you can add a YouTube link, online link, somebody's blog link, all that you can add here, right? And let me add one right now in front of you. I have something that says equity equation white paper. I don't think I've read through it also. Let's see. Something that I am familiar with. Maybe, yeah, I can go for hands-on session. Building an AI co-pilot. So it will get added here. And if I wanted to refer this notes, I just have to check the box. It's already checked by now, right? Once you have this checked, I can go here on this chat bot area, that is chat, and start asking questions, right? Summarize. Simple thing is summarize what is in the notes. Summarize the hands-on notes of hands-on session on building a chatbot. I know what is there. It was a Python notebook and all the explanation of each of the lines of code. So it will give me that summary very fast. That is one thing. Here we go. Agenda, tools and libraries being used. We were talking about agentic AI there. So all of the tools are mentioned. So without even going through PDF, especially a other person's PDF, I can use this chat. Or as I said, I can say, go through this document and create 10 question answers for me, right? 10 questions and answers, especially for revision. That also I can mention, right? Now, even better is what I found one person talking about. So instead of me saying anything, let me see if I can get that person talking to you. It's there in my slides. Let me jump down. So right now I'm talking about Notebook LM, which is useful for both teaching, note taking as student as well as for research purpose, because when you do research, you will have so many links referred to. Now let me show you the YouTube video. I have not yet subscribed to the ad-free LM, insane tool which I've been using recently to get summaries of anything which I am not able to read at the moment. So sometimes for me, whenever I'm traveling, right, could be in a car, could be in a flight, could be public transport, I'm not looking at my phone because whenever I do that, I get a headache sometimes. So what I do as an option is that I feed that blog into Notebook LM, which is an amazing tool by Google, and it gets me an audio podcast in which two people are talking about that particular blog or that particular video and summarizing it for me so that I get a clear picture of what this person is trying to say without having to read it on the go. And that's a huge. So this is a other use case that I have been using it for without even realizing that someone has made a video showing the same thing. And I wanted to show you how you can do it. So probably let's go to this notebook which I had opened. Yeah. And I had already loaded it last time. Let's see if it's possible again. Let me go ahead and ask the Sam Altman blog, because this person is the head of OpenAI. He keeps blogging very useful stuff sometimes, most times. Let me mention one blog. I've just taken the URL of the blog and added it as a source, and then say go ahead and make the audio overview. Okay. So I had already done it. Let's see if it's already here. Yeah. So I can select this. So this was the other option that I had done, which was called making notes. So this is automatically done by AI. I don't have to make notes. It creates what is called as a timeline. So in the blog, if there's a lot of mention of dates and years and all that, I can say create a timeline and explain what happened in which time, etc. And I'm searching for what I had already done. So let's see if it's there. Audio overview. See what. Yeah, it is already there. I had asked it to create this conversation. So what it does is it generates audio. So this is the background of this notebook LM. Why is it called LM? Because it's a language model behind the scenes. But this model is powerful to do not only code generation, text generation, summary generation, etc. It can also do audio generation. So here I go. I had probably asked it last time. So you see 14 minutes story mentioned.
Well, it seemed crazy at the time. That inner confidence seems critical. But this is Big Ben. Altman insists you need to balance it with self-awareness. You can't just drink your own Kool-Aid.
Right.
You need to actively seek feedback, listen to criticism, stay grounded in reality, avoid self-delusion, avoid seeming entitled. It's conviction plus humility.
Knowing the difference between deep conviction and just being stubborn. Got it.
Okay, moving to.
So this is coming as a summary of the blog, and it has been generated as if two people are discussing the blog. And in between, if I have a question, I can have this interactive mode turned on. I'm not using it, but if I click on it, it will ask me to put a question and they will generate the answer and give me. So those two people who are speaking, remember there's nobody speaking, it's all generated. So that host, one of them will answer my question. So that's the part which is very, very useful to those who want to finish a lot of reading or learning without tiring the eyes, right? Okay, so this was something that is useful to all. I hope you have taken notes, and let me continue to talk about the other things an educator will find very, very useful. Now, till now, I was talking about note taking, I was talking about asking questions to chatbots, right? And getting the concept explained or giving the outline and all that. But your classes will be very, very boring, and maybe even mine is. because of the lack of an engagement activity. So you have AI helping you here. There's an app called Quiznet, which you can go to it and sign in and say, take this material and make questions for me, quizzes for me. But as I said, same thing can be done on the chat GPT also. So if you do not want a separate app, it's up to you. You may not explore this. But what you still should look at is, let me jump into that. This one. This is a highly engaging, interactive quiz that you can have generated so that people can use their smartphones to sign in to that website or app and answer quickly. So this is called Kahoot. Okay. So not only quizzes, you can make some nice fun-based games based on the subject, and you can have that engagement activities, any kind of thing that you want to have, poll or survey, right? Based on which you can have the direction of your class changing. Okay? So this is very useful. We use it a lot at our company because we have people, of course, we are a little different because our students, so to speak, are having some device in front. They will have the mobile phone or they will have the laptop. So it becomes easy for us to, even if they are in some other city and listening to our session, we can tell them, go to that Kahoot link. We will share the link on the chat, etc. And there is a QR code which you can allow to people to scan, and your audience can use the same quiz and start working on it. And they're very, very useful activity. The other example that I want to jump to is, I think I showed this one. This is your Claude. So let me start from anything that I missed. So let me come from the beginning. So for education, I've spoken about 5 tools, a little more maybe, because I took notebook and I'm right here. It is also useful for research activity. So Quizlet as well as Kahoot. I'm not showing you. Kahoot is something that you can try out. Very short, sweet videos are there. Quizzes have been created just to get you started on Kahoot. So I like the way they're asking you, did you get this or do you think this is the answer? It's all based on their how to use Kahoot. And if you're answering it right, etc., it will allow you to go to the next question. Otherwise, it will tell you what is the right answer so that you get to learn how to get started on Kahoot. And then the secret weapon, which I recently learned about, and I use it from the last 2 months I've been using. I learned about this in February. This is a recent tool called napkin.ai. Unfortunately, certain companies like mine are blocking it. So you may have to go to your own personal device, etc. if that is the case here also. What can napkin.ai do? We'll talk about that right away. We talked about Claude, so I'll not talk much about it. So let's go to napkin. So do you see this picture? I have not created it by hand. And I have not created this text. I just went to napkin.ai. I signed in first, okay? And as usual, for free using Google ID. And then I said, you tell me the list of at least 5 top useful AI tools in education, research, and publishing each. And that's it. And it actually gave me a list of these tools. So I'll see if it is open inside my other machine where I can open napkin.ai. And if it is open, I would like to show you, or even if it's not, let me try to open it now. Rather than looking for it. So we will bring up that half done work. Yes, it is. So since I asked that, this is what it has generated. That is the text, right? Telling me that everybody will like this list of tools. And further going down, this is the set of tools, which I have already mentioned, Kahoot. So this picture, again, not made by me, napkin.ai. How do I get these pictures made? So this Quizlet. So how did it initially do? It just gave me the text, this kind of text, 5 tools each that I mentioned. So for research, for publishing, etc. Now, because I want to use this in a presentation, I have a nice little lightning symbol next to every topic, and I use this to do the AI generation and the image generation done by AI. So I select that. It will give me a set of templates which are suitable for this particular topic. So you can see it has actually gone through the text which is in front of Hemingway editor, and then I can choose any of these, right, options. And I don't like those styles which are coming up. I can go ahead and say create my own style, or I can go for more. So let me see if there is more options. If I like this, I can actually proceed to change a lot of things here. I don't like the color background. Maybe I will make it something like this color. Looks good. Okay, let's try this. And then I can also make it a little more better in terms of resolution. And I can download this picture or export it as a PNG or SVG, PPT, PDF. I can say I need a dark background and I don't need the napkin logo. You can see this option, but remember they have a crown over it, which means you have to pay before you can remove the logo. So right now I'm not paying anything, so I'm going for it. And I don't need the background, so I can go and say off. And now this looks good enough. I can copy this to my clipboard and then use it in my PPT. This is one option. I have just showing you right away. So here I'm opening another slide and pasting this. It's not yet come perfectly. Maybe I have to Control Z. Control V, which is paste. And somewhere it has to be pasted as a picture. So yeah. Probably the white background doesn't help. So maybe I change the background here. The white background is what is causing the problem. And that's it. My slide is ready. The picture, I don't have to look at PPT, Microsoft giving me pictures, and that will be a set of existing designs. That's it. All of us have heard, if you have not seen this yet, please use Designer in PowerPoint. And the other costly option, in our company itself, it is costly, not given to everyone. I think it is $30 per person per month. So definitely not for everyone. But Copilot is the ready-made AI option which comes as a plugin inside all our Microsoft Office apps. So if I use this, then I have a lot of options very fast I can do. I can say create a presentation about this. It will actually create the entire thing with pictures and all that. But if you don't have it, no worries, you have Designer. Most likely everyone has this in PowerPoint. And you can go ahead, especially when you have written a set of points. Those who have not seen that, please try it out. So if I have some points, let's say something about AI, ML, DL, all the terms that I spoke about, let's say these are the terms. And if I look at going somewhere and coming back again, the designer will suggest how to present it better. So here you have different options. And if I had some more, meaningful words, I just made it very, very short. But if I had put it fully, it will understand the meaning of these words and suggest a suitable, what is that called, icon, right? So if I, again, in order for it to generate, I may have to come out of this slide and then come back in so that it can tell me what icon is suitable. Right now, it still is wondering. So let me see if when I come back, it should generate. So try this with better, bigger words, which highlight, and you will get much better smart art coming or even the icons coming for you. Okay, in designer. So with that, I wind up this part about education, but I throw the floor open for you. I'm sure a lot of you in your subject areas, some of you at least would have explored what tools are useful in what area. So I request you to share to others. Keep in mind that you will be sharing because I'll complete my talk and then come back to you. Okay. And now coming to research, I'm sure all of us who are planning to be here in the long run, teaching has to go hand in hand with research. And if not now, later you will be planning to do it. So what are the most often used useful AI tools here? One is called Mendeley, which is similar to your notebook LM. In fact, it takes steps further, not just summarizes articles, etc. It allows you to do cross-referencing. So suppose you're very seriously about to write a research paper, you can put your topic and say, tell me who else has published on that topic. So without doing Google search or searching, whether the topic is already published, etc., you get Mendeley as an AI engine that gets you that information from outside. On top of that, if you want some summary or some outline, etc., on your topic to be created, that also can be done with Mendeley. And it is ready to, if it brings something from outside, it will cite the source, which is also useful for your research paper publication. Right? There is the second tool that was mentioned, that is Elicit. So Elicit is also a cross-referencing paper, publishing activity for which you can use. But the advantage of Elicit is it's all having a chatbot like thing inside. So you can ask questions to it and get responses. Okay? A lot of companies are actually using Elicit. So I think I've got a screenshot of showing that. Then there is Semantic Scholar, which is the idea almost similar to Google Scholar. I think Google Scholar is now, for some reason, not available. They are planning to revamp it and bring it out again. But till then, there is Semantic Scholar, which again is about going across research articles across the internet and telling you what is available and so on. So they're very, very similar in that way. And I think one of you had told during, what was that? Countless, what was that other term? You can have the cross-referencing, right? Somebody had told earlier that you already explored. So what was the term C from C? I had written it down somewhere. Just give me a second. Well, I have not explored that one. So research paper related it was. Yes, here it is, connected papers. So this is a whole set of different options that you can explore, some of which I have already shown you and I have explored it. So yes, research related connected papers is something that you can try out. And finally, I spoke about notebook LLM or notebook LM, sorry, it's not LLM, it's LM. It's already talking about the idea of keeping all your notes in one place and from different sources, etc. And finally, you have this, which was chat PDF. I had spoken about it that time, where PDFs can be uploaded and the summary or whatever you are asking about, is this topic present in the PDF? You don't have to go manually and look at it. AI will do it for you. So this is actually what a lot of the companies who are approaching us, IT service companies, these Fortune 500 companies. So it could be Pfizer. So Pfizer is a pharmaceutical company. They make drugs every few months, maybe better versions of the previous drug. And every time they finish making one drug, they do clinical study trial report with multiple patients and they document what happened, what are the side effects, and so many things that that document itself turns out to be 300 pages, 200 pages PDF. So instead of having to get a person to refer that PDF in detail, they have come to companies like Infosys saying, can you build a custom chatbot which will do this kind of work, that it will go into the PDF and give me answers. So if an employee says, what is the side effects of the version number 2 drug? It will go to that particular version's PDF, which is generated and already stored nicely. The chatbot will be able to answer that question from any of the pages that is there, wherever the answer is there, and get back the answer. So on top of that, because it is a generative AI model, it should not generate its own answer, even if that answer is not there. So that is where we at our company, when we create that kind of custom chatbot, we put in that restriction that if you don't find answer, don't make a new answer on your own, right? So, and also to make sure that the user is satisfied that it is genuine answer, we give the citation that this answer came from page number so and so PDF. so that people can jump there and be assured that it is a proper answer of the original PDF. So anyway, this is the internal working of how chatbots are built, and we spoke about some of these. So Mendeley is something you can see a screenshot of. I'm just going to walk you through this. You have to explore further. This is mainly for noting the spelling of that tool, Mendeley. It's mendeley.com, you will find it. And you have a desktop app also, so you can use this for more convenient research and library kind of thing. You can store your articles and your documents in one place inside Mendeley. Elicit, if you remember, I mentioned that there is a chatbot here with which you can ask questions. So that's a specialty of Elicit. And you can see that at the bottom, they mentioned most researchers in multiple companies are using this often. I've made a point here to mention that it is a AI-powered research assistant designed to automate the part of literature review process. So those who are about to set up a paper, create a paper, publish it, etc., it makes sense. And it can extract the specific information like methodology, finding, limitation from a paper in an easy to use table format, also helping you to efficiently find relevant literature without perfect keyword matches so that you can synthesize the information quickly. Semantic Scholar is also going to be something similar because, again, semantic word itself means that the meaning is understood, right? So I just want to mention here, how many of you remember those days when Google was working only with keyword search? We used to put in a Google search, we used to say something like quantum space mechanics. If I put, then it will go and give me search results which mention quantum or which mention mechanics. Then I end up saying search for quantum and mechanics. These two words have to be there, or I used to put it in double quotes. That for that you should remember that those days of Google search. But today you don't have to do that. So that's the days of keyword search. Here I want to show you that will hopefully make you remember better. So if you go to Snapdeal, I have done this many times, so this link is already here, or you go to Amazon. Okay, how many of us are used to putting a whole sentence? Today, almost all Gen Z, our kids, for example, will put the whole sentence. How do you water a plant in the morning? So and so plant. Right? They will put the whole sentence because they're not used to keyword search. Now you have these things. So here I have a question like this. What is the price of latest t-shirts? Look at Snapdeal. What does it give me? On books, no t-shirts. Okay, so it means that it is not able to understand the meaning of my question. And on the top in the URL, you get to know that it is doing the keyword match. What is there? Is word is there? The is there? Latest. All these words should be there, and then it will get you the answer. So that's the problem of keyword search. I take the same question, go to a competing site like Amazon, and you can be assured that they have implemented semantic search. So when I put a question like this, you actually get latest t-shirts is what I assume, and of course with the prices. So that's the meaning of the word semantic. So generally, whenever you hear this word, don't have to worry. It's that AI is able to understand the meaning of the complete sentence because that part is implemented, right? So how does it all work? Now I'm giving you one homework article, and this is really, really good for newcomers to AI. So this is one article. You can just make a note of the name of the article and say ft.com, which is Financial Times, and the article name, I'm putting it in double quotes, generative AI exists because of the transformer. If you just put this, it will help you to find this free article. Normally, good articles are on paid basis available, but this is free, and this gives you a visual storytelling being done in a newspaper article is something that I came across right here. In this article, it actually shows you in an animated way how Gen AI is working and how the words of English language are broken into chunks, which are finally made as tokens, and those tokens are later converted to what is called as mathematical numbers or embeddings. So vector embeddings. So again, those who are teaching maths will be happy to know that AI is fully based on machine learning is also fully based on mathematics. So here you go, and they're explaining this very well. So you go through this article very slowly, any number of times, you get an idea of how Gen AI is working and how the transformation from where it was, that is 2016, it was simply discriminative AI. They added a new form of architecture called transformer architecture, because of which the words are understood better by machines. And even if the same word has different meanings, right, the machine is able to understand and make sense of it, right? So here, if you go through this article, you will get an idea of this vector embedding thing, which we mentioned earlier. And when you have words that have similar meaning, like sea and ocean, you will see the kind of numbers used, right, between 0 and 1 to represent the token is also very, very similar. We have just shown it in form of color so that people don't have to get worried about seeing numbers. Most of us, when we say mathematical numbers, we say, oh my God, too much of numbers, right? So here what they're trying to say is, because the meaning is same, the numbers are also very, very near each other. So you can see here also in the 3D form, when any particular word has to be put in, which has same meaning, walk, run, not meaning, similar. Basically, all these are verbs, right, that have some action meaning. Whereas these are nouns about transport, train, bus, car, etc. So they are all forming, getting numbers that are different, which are near each other as per the meaning. So that's how semantic search works. And Semantic Scholar, from where I came, is also working on the same basis, foundation. Yeah, same meaning, that is, it is able to give you the similar meaning articles. So whatever your question is, that let's say I want articles or papers on quantum mechanics, it can go and get you the correct similar stuff. Okay. So we spoke about Notebook LM. This is the tool of your choice. Please explore and you will find it very useful. It's free for now. While it is free, all of us should use this, my thinking. And then there is, of course, other free options that not everyone needs to use. If you're going to research even more, then you need chat PDF kind of tool. Okay, so final part is about animation, publishing. Say you have finished your preparation with the topic for teaching, you have also done a lot of research, but you want some papers to be published, or you want to publish a book, which is also a good idea, especially in our retirement days. It gives a kind of a continuous income, right? So whatever you want to do in terms of publishing, there are multiple AI tools for this. So whether you are doing publishing in terms of content creators, you're trying to make Insta reels for the new generation of learners, or you're trying to make blogs, you're trying to publish animated videos for your, anybody on YouTube, and you can create a whole channel of that, and then say to your students that refer this particular video in your channel which explains a particular concept. Maybe in our field, we have a concept called as convolutional neural network. It is a type of network that can do image processing, and that is based on the fact that there is something which convolves around the image. So how it exactly works, that animatedly can be explained with a lot of pictures. We have been able to do it as an interactive video in our office. But I want the rest of the world to know, and that is where, again, how do you do publishing on YouTube, or what kind of interactive video can be made in the least amount of time and effort? That is the specialty with these AI tools. So the number one tool, you talk to any new generation kid or anybody who is in a publishing or marketing field, they will talk about Canva. Today, as recently as 1 week back, Canva has published even more updates, latest updates, by which you can have even more AI features. You can create your own magical stuff. They have called that feature as Magic Wand or something. So please build that YouTube video so that you will have the initial fear going away, how people are explaining those features are useful, and then how do you get started. Those videos are very useful. Just to tell you my 13-year-old kid is able to do this much more efficiently just through going through 2 videos on YouTube. And then she passes those videos to me and says, take this if you want to learn. So for summer holidays, again, I'm sure a lot of kids are at home. You can advocate the understanding of how to use Canva because it's mainly a designing thing. There's no coding involved and they get used to the AI tools that are present there. So that is one advantage. Moving ahead for publishing, if you are a proper magazine publishing or book publishing idea, you have to take care of the grammar, and there is an AI tool called Grammarly that will help a lot. There is one more very useful tool, especially as an editor. So suppose one of you is a college editor of a magazine, please think of using this tool as a freeware right now. Up till I think certain days it gives free because this actually has Grammarly and the writing tools of AI ability given in-house or inbuilt inside this Hemingway editor. So it's a complex thing which allows the editor to not only see grammar, which also allows editor to say rephrase this sentence, right? So without knowing too much of English or being an expert of English, you can still manage with Hemingway editor. And there is the overleaf, which is useful for those who are publishing in research. So for research, overleaf publishing is good tool. And finally, there is remove.bg, but this is not very critical. This is just one of the many that are available for removal of background. So for any reason, let's say I'm standing here and I have this background and some of you have taken my photo, but when I take the photo from you, I would like that background to be removed. So you can do it very easily with the help of remove.bg. Similarly, other tools, other AI tools also exist. I just mentioned this, but there may be photo room and so many other such tools that have this ability inside. Canva also has this ability. So you don't have to take the remove.bg separately. But if you don't want a whole big thing like Canva, only wanting it for background removal, then you can go and take the remove.bg. So this is how the Canva app looks like. I've already used it for my office work. So at office, I'm also taking care of the training needs of Bangalore DC, which is a development center of 73,000 employees. So every month as a education unit, we have to send out newsletters, send out webinars, right? Mention, publish it out. And so we have done something called Wisdom Well. The full thing, but I just got a screenshot. So I wanted that that wonderful article or the, what is that called, banner of the mailer to come through Canva. So I used that for Canva for that purpose. But there are multiple other reasons you may want to use it. Say in teaching, and let's say we're talking about history or any place where you have a lot of timelines. And initially, when we were talking about AI for our leaders, many of our leaders at Infosys said, tell us from the beginning what had changed, how. Give us the evolution of AI. And this is where we found Canva giving you a nice template for timeline. So if you have everything written down in Excel, that 1973, this thing was there. 1997, this happened. And 2017, something else happened. So I've written all that down in Excel or any other such document. You can import it and into Canva and use this template, which is called timeline template. And it created a wonderful template. And in AI, there were so many events that we wanted to show. It showed it nicely. Around 25 events in just that PowerPoint slide. So how to depict it becomes a challenge if you're doing it manually, but using these kind of templates, it becomes very, very easy. Okay, the other thing we mentioned this earlier. So you can see if you go to this grammarly.com site and you don't sign in, don't look at signing in with Google immediately. In the initial page itself, you get a lot of advertisements that showcase how Grammarly can be used. So for example, they are mentioned, write an intro or your own writing, it can correct, right? So you can mention that look at my grammar and correct it if needed. And the third tool that I mentioned earlier was Hemingway Editor. This, as you can see, is already looking very complex. One of the reasons is it has the writing ability, that is an AI tool for generating content, and it has the ability to mark what is wrong. in terms of grammar and what exactly can be improved. So the different colors are used, and on the side, the information is given why that color, why that marking has happened. This is mainly for editors, people who have to review a lot of articles and correct it, etc. And then moving ahead, we have overview. So this actually, remember I mentioned it is for people, it's more useful for people who are doing research. So I'm not sure, I couldn't find a way to sign in without, without signing up. So if you can find a way to go in, if it's a free option, it's very useful. What a lot of researchers who have published articles have mentioned this. And the remove.bg is a simple example here from this website. Here is a picture. So any picture, you could upload your own picture if you wish. It has a background, but I use this cat picture, which is already there. It has a brown background in the bottom, you can see. And once this AI works, it automatically makes it all gone. So the background is gone and you have the cat alone. Again, you have multiple effects and things that you can add if you wish. So with that, 5 tools in each: research, education, and publishing have kind of covered. But I want to mention that this is not exhaustive. Every few days, new companies, new startup companies are coming on. And there are a lot of people who are publishing YouTube content which talk about which is useful and where. So some of the pictures that you see now are all from internet, from YouTube specifically. Not necessarily related to education, research, and publishing. This is more about how online businesses can be helped by, say, if you're looking for ideas, use ChatGPT, right? And then use this one, that was Claude that I mentioned. And then there was Perplexity. How many of you know that Perplexity is a Google come, what else? AI, generative AI. So it's not exactly searching anything on the internet, but it is having the ability to do that and then come back to AI to give you a final answer. Connection. Okay, so with that, you should use Perplexity because a lot of people, including that Ishan Sharma, whose video I had played a few minutes back, where he was talking about notebook LM, he has also recommended Perplexity for getting one concrete answer rather than looking at multiple Google research results, etc. Also, to avoid the problem of hallucination, that one concrete answer that is generated also cites from where it is coming. So you can be assured that it is not giving you fake answer. So other than that, a lot of things that if you are interested to make a business, these website making and the ability to create videos, etc., will be useful. Now, I'm sure everyone knows about personal branding, and you can teach this to your students after you do it yourself. This is something that I didn't know when I was doing my 10 years of career. Today, of course, within 10 years, everybody knows that their LinkedIn profile should be very handy, very active. And whenever you go to a networking event like this, where you meet other people, you should, today it's no more about visiting card exchange. It is more about, let me scan your LinkedIn profile. So there is a scan option, QR code that you can generate in 2 seconds and show it to your partner with whom you meet, whoever, at a networking event, and you can get connected on LinkedIn that way, by sending a message, right? After scanning and getting them as a connection. So while this is the general part about LinkedIn, and also one starting point is many of us, if you've not gone to LinkedIn or you've done it long back, you would have a URL that says linkedin.com slash something else, some word slash some alphanumeric key. You can check your LinkedIn profile. Most likely you would have kept it as it is because that's how LinkedIn would generate the first time your profile and URL. But that's not a friendly URL. It's not easy to remember, to give to others, etc., or to put it here at the bottom that after your presentation in a, say, international conference paper or national conference paper. So that is where there is an option inside LinkedIn where you can say, I want a friendly URL to be created, and it will allow you to supply the name. So if your name, my name is Anuradha Adiga, I have gone and put that friendly name saying Anuradha Adiga, and then now my friendly URL is very easy. I can easily pass it to others. I remember it myself and they also can easily remember. So these are the starting points about LinkedIn. But then there are other AI tools that can help you to make your networking part easier, make your banner, which is impressing people in the beginning in your LinkedIn profile. You can actually optimize how LinkedIn is posting, right? And feeding the posts of people whom you follow. And lastly, you can use multiple AI tools to make your profile picture better and more jazzy and all that. I don't recommend this too much because this probably is for a wedding site or something like that, matrimony.com. But just generally having a good profile picture does make sense. So there are 12 AI tools that you can go further with. And the last set of tools that I want to share is some of this we have already talked about. You saw about Notebook LM for the bottom, right? So this is mainly for your learning and teaching, etc. But on the left, you can see the categories in which all these AI tools become very, very handy. New tools are coming as we speak. There is something called Google's Project Manager, which is a very quick video generating option that you can use. And they are mentioning it as rivaling the OpenAI Sora, which is also a video generating tool. So a lot of tools are in the market. That's not important. It's important about how much you get used to using one tool, then easily adapt to other. So don't get too sticky to one tool because anytime tools may merge with some other company or may not work out, etc. So, but the idea of keeping your notes in one place, etc., will always help. So look up those kind of tools. Notebook LM is coming from Google, so you can always store your notes, all your things in one single Google Drive and have it all easy to reference, etc., through the Notebook LM. And as Professor Rajesh mentioned, these are some of the other tools that I have just mentioned here, but they are also available. Video Poet has already been released. It's again a video generating tool for 2 seconds to as long as you want the video to be, you can make it. So all of that is available. You could go ahead and use. Some of this is what others have mentioned. Connected papers as one of the tools that for a researcher it becomes very handy. There are useful models that I have not spoken about. DeepSeek has become very, very famous. We all know it is from China. And also the fact that it is doing its work with 1/5 the power which is used by OpenAI's any model. So while OpenAI is using a lot of machines, GPUs that are running full time, etc., 1/5 of that is what your DeepSeek model is using. And that's why it has become, it's captured the imagination that, especially US stock prices crashed because of that. The fact that there is a way to do it cheaper and faster and more effective. So in certain places, when you see the evaluation metrics, you will see that DeepSeek models are scoring higher than other models, OpenAI or Google's models. So only drawback I will suggest is there is something called as a DeepSeek app. So I want to warn the same thing that we tell Infosys employees. Do not install the DeepSeek app, which is a full-fledged app that is available on the Android store as well as Apple store, because it comes from a Chinese company. It can have other things that we don't want it to see or details. Therefore, what we suggest is use only the model. So models are available. DeepSeek model is available just like your Google Gemini. It is available as a API. So as you wish to call upon or chat with it, you can use it within that interface. Don't install any app in your own device. So thank you, everyone. Hope it has been a exhaustive list as much as I could make it. I'm sure more can be added. Some of you can now take the chance to share what you have looked at. If there are any questions to me, you can also put it across. Yeah, question. Is there a mic that you can pass? Yeah.
Your presentation was very nice and very useful for all of us. I have one question because you are from tech background. One place we talk about eco-friendly things and all. Because it will use lots of energy, so carbon footprint will definitely be there. So what do you want to say on it? As an institution, how can we take care of that? By using AI tools.
Yeah, you are right that there has to be some merging between the competition that is happening. It's unnecessary according to me. But in terms of carbon footprint, every company is realizing that and they are switching to the renewable sources of energy. So Microsoft is the number one who has said that by next year, 2026, they're already 90% on solar and wind power. So they have already switched to renewable resources. Similarly, Google has also, it's become like a, if they are able to do it, we should also announce the same kind of competition. And it's required because data centers, as you mentioned, are the ones which are running these machines, the GPUs and CPUs. They are running in 40,000 GPUs together, for example, for any of these models, the Gen AI models. Therefore, to have them running continuously, do the processing so much, there will be even more power required. So the first answer is to switch to renewable sources. And second is what I feel is there should be a combination, a merger of companies. It should not be that everyone goes and does a creation of a model. And that is what I felt is good about the founder of Perplexity AI mentioning it. He's an Indian from IIT Madras. He has clearly mentioned that he is not in the, his company is not in the game of creating another model. He is trying to make an interface which makes it easy for people to choose what they want. So you have in Perplexity, you have the options to say, I want to talk to ChatGPT, GPT, OpenAI GPT, or Google's Gemini, or Claude, or so many ors are there. So it is just one of the models you can access. So he is just giving an interface to any of the models. So if you don't get what answer you like from one of them, you can switch to another. This should be the way people should go forward. Makers of models are already enough. Many are there. Now it should be a chance to merge them, merge their power, and unify it and give it as a option to consume for the rest of us. That is my personal thought. And the first part is anyway is published. So a lot of companies are switching to renewable sources of energy. Yeah. Okay. If you mention your name, it will be good for the rest of the audience also.
I'm Jyoti from Department of Psychology.
Yeah. Your name, ma'am? 1 second. Let me ask. Okay. Chemistry. Oh, okay. I remember quantum mechanics because of your suggestion.
Yes. Thank you so much for such an insightful session on using AI. I myself have benefited from Elicit and Notebook, especially in my research work, and it has been a great blessing. But the question is that brain research shows that, when I challenge ourselves, when we challenge ourselves, like it's a difficult task, and I put my own effort, my own skill, critical thinking skills, it develops a new neural pattern in our brain, and it actually helps in developing our intelligence. Does the use of ChatGPT or any kind of these AI tools it's making us more dumber? Like, we hear a lot that technology is just making us dumber. So
I agree to the extent that if you are introducing technology at a very early stage, when the brain is supposed to develop critical thinking and such analysis abilities, like to a 10th standard or pre-10th standard student, high school student, we should not bring in these kind of tools because they will get addicted to getting answers fast. It is like those days when we saw the use of calculators and we were very tempted not to do the actual manual multiplication. We would go to calculator and see if we can get a shortcut. Don't give the shortcut to them until they reach our stage where you can do it on your own if you have time. So if you have time, if there is a paper to be presented, you have enrolled, you have registered for some conference, and that is in August. And today it is April. You have time, you spend 1 month for your own critical thinking, come up with all the points that you want to cover in the paper. Then take it to such tools and make it faster. And when you are really time crunched, that is where in a company like ours, which every time comes with a deadline of like maximum 1 week. So within a week, we have to come up with a course or with a outline with quizzes, lab exercises, everything in my field. That is when we are happy to use such tools. So if it's time thing, we should use it. Is my
one more thing that we said about how we can avoid it from using it at early stage. But even in the current stage, like let's say I have a hobby of writing. So creative writing. So last day I had a program at somewhere, and then there was a short play that was running around. So people are writing a story from ChatGPT, and I felt like, what is a human effort? Where is human creativity? So you can actually that's a one.
That is a good point. The organizers of such festivals should ideally use AI tools to catch the writing of AI tools. And there are such AI tools. It's called AI plagiarism checks. So please search. You will get a lot of tools available. And recommend to the organizers that please use this and ensure that the writing is not purely from AI. It has to be human effort. So that it does manage to check for the wordings and that flowery language and all that. So AI can catch such bits coming from
Thank you so
another.
much, ma'am. So, ma'am, there's a question online. It is to do with checking plagiarism. The question is, I have written some of the sentences personally on my own, and when I make it undergo plagiarism, it shows as plagiarized. So, how to avoid that when we are using too much of AI? The question posed on that.
Okay, I wouldn't answer this question because it's like, can I fool AI from checking my use of AI? So according to me, AI should be able to check whether you have used AI or not. And even if you have got three sentences which are flowery, this is one tip for you. If there are flowery in the sense stylized language use, grammatical use, etc., is present, uh, the AI is taking it as AI generated. So try to avoid that. Keep it very simple words. Then maybe AI will not catch it as plagiarized. So ideally, I don't want to mention more tips, but yes, that is how it should be. That I mean, the AI generated text should be easily visible. So that's what is happening now. And there are ways to fool, change it, make it not understand that is there. One of those is not to write in flowery language. You can instruct your AI not to do that, to give very simple words that will help to some extent. Anybody else? We had her mentioning implicit and notebook LM. Anyone else who's biology or chemistry or any other arts, humanities user used anything? Using. What are you using? Notebook LM becomes very common. Okay. So no other tips coming from you?
Another line. It's more like a statement. Flowery language comes from a human, then why should AI get it?
No, AI is able to generate that kind of language by default. So unless you prompt and say that write it in simple words, it may not do that. And that's the reason why if anything that we write, even in flowery language, it may take it as AI written by default. Yeah, there's a question there.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, I have just two questions regarding AI. There was the research that was published, I think, last year that talked about general purpose AI like ChatGPT, Claude, or even Gemini. All of the results that they are generating based on the prompts that we put in. If we feed that particular prompt back to ChatGPT or those generative AI sites, they will start generating worse and worse results over time because the reference is again AI to begin with. Because the AI is referencing either, I mean, mostly unethically through other sources of books, novels, art pieces that they are able to find online, or anything that is accessible online. So what is your thought on that specifically? Because you were saying that there is a huge chance that there will be hallucinatory answers by AI, where they speak about answers that are not correct, or they are just generating because for the sake of generating something. But AI also has a big problem of referencing itself while referencing something in terms of an answer that can be wrong. That can be wrong. So that one question, I mean, if you have a response for that, man, that would be lovely. And the second is a lot of AI is dependent on how do you create a prompt for it to give you a better result. So what kind of prompt generation might be better to start off? For example, Gemini or even ChatGPT works with act as a. So if you say act as a professor with 25 years of experience, give me a result, it will do that. Or if you say you have been working in a certain situation for 5 years, and if you don't give me a right answer, your response will be illicit. So if there are different ways of, I guess, cornering an AI when you're trying to generate a response, but how do we get the best kind of prompt for anything that is generative for general purposes? I will say.
So, same question I want to answer first because there is a concrete answer here. There are multiple courses on prompt engineering. There's no one best course. For example, there is one person called Andrew Ng. He's famous. He's the founder of Coursera. And his organization, he has created a subset called deeplearning.ai. They are researchers. He's getting researchers to explain what is the latest in that field. And he started with this course called prompt engineering. So you can refer that. So check it online called prompt engineering by deeplearning.ai. This is the starting course. But to make it very simple, there are many people who have made it easy to understand and given very simple prompts in multiple domains. So there is one person called Dave Briss. He is very chatty and it doesn't feel like you're attending a class. But in his LinkedIn learning courses on prompting, he talks about how with this flowery brackets, you can have an entire story detail about how you want the output to be and reuse the prompt. So copy and keep it along with you, maybe in an Excel file. And anytime you need in whatever category, you want it for summarization or you want it, so mention the category so that the search can become faster for you. So even 5 years down the line, if I want a prompt for something which I've used before, just look up the Excel and reuse the prompt is what his suggestion is. So one of that suggestion I've just mentioned here, that is to keep it flowery brackets as a filler so that everybody else also can use it. There is our own course also called Prompt Engineering in Infosys Springboard, but it is more, less towards the other sciences, more about coding and how in coding or how generally how prompting can be made better. So the point that you mentioned, act as a. So these are the 3 points out of 5 that are mentioned there, which means you need to tell the machine how to behave. That is, you dictate the persona and say, you are doing this for botany students of, undergraduate students who are attending this third year science degree and therefore give this kind of explanation. So you have to give that behavior part along with maybe additional things, examples, etc., so that it can give you the best type of answer. So check our course on Infosys Springboard because 5 guidelines are mentioned. The content or intent should be very, very clear. The idea of dictating the persona, the personality, that also can be given along with additional information that how will this help? Whatever answer you're going to give us, how will it be used later? So that can also be mentioned along with the context in which this question is coming from, what context, along with the examples. So some 5 points are nicely given. If that is understood, mention and ensure that each prompt of yours is more detailed. So that should help. So I mentioned 3 basic names. One was Coursera or deeplearning.ai, prompt engineering. Then there is the multiple courses on prompting by Dave Briss. He's in LinkedIn Learning, his courses are available. Most recently, he has published a course called the Top 10 Prompts, AI Prompts. And what did he do for that course? Very funny. He first asked his own learners that go through this set of prompts and tell me which ones you would like to hear on, which are the most commonly required prompts. And after the popularity vote came in, then he chose the top 10 prompts which people want to hear about. One of them was how to do a SWOT analysis, how to do a financial calculator or something like that. And he has mentioned there very clearly that LLM is very bad at finance, very bad at math. So cross-check the answers that it, after it finishes the financial thing. And the last one more prompt that he mentioned that people want to hear is how do you market something? How do you pitch and do an advertising properly? So some of those are in that course. So that will help. And finally, you can start with a free one, which is on Infosys Springboard, this prompting share. Coming to your first question, you mentioned that AI learns from the AI output itself. I'm not sure about that, but the fact is that it keeps looking at its pre-trained knowledge. So what is already learned in the sense that, as you said, it has been trained on pirated copies or, where people have not been given royalty and all. So from there, it creates the first set of answers. If later in your prompt, you're saying, looking at the previous answer only, give me the next answer, then only according to me, it will be restricted to look at that. I have not come across this research, but yeah, if you're saying that AI is looking and making its answers worse, I have not come across this yet. So maybe it is because of the prompting mistake that people might have made, that look at your previous questions and previous answer and then answer this one. That if that is done, then definitely it will not use of pre-trained knowledge at all. But from my 3-year plus experience on Gen AI, every time we put a question, it actually looks up whatever it knows and then comes back with the answer. Unless we have done some tuning, we normally end up putting some additional resources of information and say, look at this and look at these two policy documents of Infosys, then give me the answer. And that is another thing that is called semantic search. So I tell it that look for the answers in these documents along with whatever you know, then come up with the answer. That is the specialized thing that a lot of companies ask us to do. So we implement this kind of chatbots. So I have to come across, if you can send me the link sometime, it will be help.
Yes, ma'am.
The thing that says AI is getting learning from its own answers and becoming wrong. That part I want to know. What is your name, sir?
Sumit.
Looking forward to your information.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Any more questions? Last question, maybe. Yes.
Much now. So, Enoch. So I just wanted to ask a question about the reality of AI to the humanity, because in our day one, we had the privilege to have one of our interlocutor who was telling clearly to the teachers not to be afraid of AI in the education system because there is a lot of fear in the humanity right now. And while talking, you were also suggesting that AI would remove a lot of jobs in the corporate field. So what is your position since you guys are almost preparing the corporate agent and we are also training some students to join you guys in the corporate? What is your view vis-a-vis to how the AI will help the humanity in the job fields? Thank you.
Here I want to mention, in the beginning, someone had mentioned that artificial intelligence is something to do with human intelligence and feelings. That feelings is not yet there in AI. So this is where anytime any decision has to be taken without looking at data alone, that is the time humans are required. So any such job will not go away to AI at all. In fact, when I say jobs going away, if at all I suggested that, it is more about jobs going to the next level. So if someone says, I just know how to do coding by hand, or as you said, writing a creative answer by hand alone, but I don't know how to use AI, that person may not be preferred for the next upcoming jobs today. Because we need people to generate the same work, to do the work in shorter time. And that can only happen when you know how to use AI. So even in the movie making business, creative field, you will today see that people who are doing camera based, work, they will have to say they have to today they have to go on to learn how to use AI to generate images that they want, or how to use AI tools to remove the background that they took of the image that they took, right? Or basically learning how to use AI tools to make their job much faster is definitely the requirement across industries. So whichever student is learning today, any subject, they need to be told. Another problem for us is our people end up saying, tomorrow I'm going to use a GenAI tool to create the code. Why are you asking me to learn Java? It will create the Java code. That is the drawback now, because even if we have a tool, we cannot rely on the tool full time. It has to be the human that is in command of the language of the output that is required. And therefore, you need a human, but the human has to upgrade to learn how to use our AI, almost similar to the analogy I mentioned. Sickle usage for gardening is old date, out of date. We will not give the gardener a job if he says, I don't know him to use a machine. So today, most likely you will be ready to pay 100 rupees to a person who uses a lawnmower and finishes your gardening work faster. So that's exactly AI for you. Lawnmower. So without knowing that, the jobs may be at risk. And the other part of the question was, how do you train people, right? So again, that second part was that only, that coding related. People are saying that when the AI can do everything for me, why am I required? So that is also a danger. We have to be even more of an expert so that the output from AI can be corrected if it is wrong. We cannot say that, I am happy that it has created something and I'm going to use it as it is. So that is the problem. Thank you, everybody. And do reach out to me if any more queries are there.
We extend our heartfelt thanks to Ms. Anuradha for her insightful and detailed talk on AI tools for education, research, and publication. Your guidance on enhancing productivity through various AI tools was incredibly valuable and much appreciated. We are truly grateful that you accepted our invitation, and we will always cherish the knowledge and wisdom you have shared with us today. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our beloved principal, Dr. Sister Mary Louisa, for her constant support, vision, leadership, and gracious presence throughout this journey. A special word of appreciation to Sister Nalini Cruz, Sister Sajita Jose, and Dr. Carol Stanley Zembler for their invaluable contributions and efforts in making this faculty development program a reality. Our sincere thanks also goes to the FDP Organizing Committee, Dr. Leena Nair, Organizing Secretary, Dr. Josephine Narmada, Ms. Anupama Bhatt, Mr. Mikhail Rajaram, and Dr. Rajesh Dharmaraj, whose tireless commitment and meticulous planning have brought this initiative to life. We are equally grateful to the IQAC team and the various FDP committee coordinators and members for their wholehearted support and dedication. A special mention to Mr. Praveen and Mr. Richard, the IT and tech team, whose attention to every detail ensured that each element of the program was executed flawlessly. To all our participants across the country, thank you for your presence and wholehearted engagement. Looking forward to your presence in the upcoming sessions as well. And finally, a warm note of appreciation to all those working behind the scenes. Your silent dedication and behind the curtain efforts have been instrumental in the smooth execution of today's session. The feedback link is being posted in the chat box and will remain open for the next 2 hours. Kindly take a moment to share your reflections. Thank you once again and wishing you a fulfilling and inspiring day ahead. Requesting the faculty members of JNC to reassemble in the auditorium at 12:40. I